After a long day of adventuring, you and your party decide to head to the nearest bar for a nice little nightcap. Towards the end of the night, one of your party members asks to speak with you privately in the back alley. You agree to follow without suspecting anything for your party member you've known for years. Heading into the alley, your friend starts talking about how much they value your friendship and how without you they would have no focus in life. They turn to face you and something seems off about them. They have a sadistic look in their eyes. Their features seem to shimmer slightly. They say, "You are my focus, my one goal in life. You are the focus for my revenge," and then plunge a dagger into your stomach. Looking down at the dagger, you look at their hands and see it isn't your friend anymore. Instead, you see a fur-covered head closely resembling that of a tiger with piercing red cat-like eyes. The clothing shifts to finely made silks and jewelry adorning their neck and fingers. The hands, unlike normal humanoids, are flipped and the palms are facing outwards. You remember this creature, you've killed it once before. This is a Rakshasa, and it's out for revenge. Hello and welcome to Dungeon Deep Dive, where we talk about all things D&D, from monsters and their lore to news updates and tips and advice for anyone interested in Dungeons and Dragons and want to give it a try. In today's video, we're going over the tiger-like creatures from the Nine Hells that thrive off of deception and revenge, the Rakshasa. Rakshasas have been causing havoc and terror in D&D campaigns since way back. Their first appearance was in the 1977 Advanced D&D Monster Manual. These vicious essences of devils stand around 6 to 7 feet tall and have features that take the resemblance of beasts. The most common form of a Rakshasa is that of a head of a tiger, but some have been cited to have heads of other predatory cats like panthers or lions. But some have even been seen with features of apes, prayed mantises, and heads of crocodiles. And some even have multiple heads of these beasts. Rakshasas originated a long time ago from the Nine Hells, when highly powerful devils created a dark ritual to take parts of their essence and give it physical form for a way to escape into the lower planes. In the Advanced D&D Monster Manual, they are described as evil spirits encased in flesh that have a taste for human meat. It says they are masters of illusions and are able to use ESP to reach into the person's mind and extract information that could take the form of any loved ones or persons they know to deem them as friendly. Capable of using both magic user spells up to 3rd level and cleric spells up to 1st level, and any spells of 8th level or lower have no effect on the creature at all. They cannot be harmed by any weapon that is not magical, and if you have a magic weapon that is lower than a +3, it will only do half damage. Interestingly, if a Rakshasa is hit with a crossbow bolt blessed by a cleric, it instantly kills it. This later gets changed in 3.5, where a blessed bolt will no longer one-shot. It gets damage resistance 15 from good and piercing, which basically means that they get resistance to all damage unless it's taken from a good aligned weapon and that deals piercing damage, like a blessed weapon. Later on in the Monster Manual Volume 3, we get 2 variants of your run-of-the-mill Rakshasa, called the Ak'chazar and another one called Nas'the-rune. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering those names, but that's the closest I can get. In the book, the Ak'chazar is described as a humanoid with the head of a white tiger. A light coating of ghostly white fur coats the creature's body from the shoulders down, and its hands display razor-sharp nails, kind of like cat claws. The palm of its hands are where the back of the hands would be on a human, and the Ak'chazar Rakshasa stands around 6 feet tall and weighs around 175 pounds. These creatures are still very strong practitioners in the arcane arts, but these guys focus more on the necromantic side of magic rather than the full-on illusions. Similar to other Rakshasa, they tend to work behind the scenes, having their fingers in manipulating events and bending officials to their dark needs, and using their connections and spies, as well as intelligent undead they have conjured to act out their plots. Ak'chazars tend to roost and establish their bases of power on fields of great battles or a large cemetery, or even some places where a large number of corpses may be interred. Now, the Nas'the-rune, unlike their other brethren, focus on the art of stealth and roguelike skills to dispose of their enemies. Unlike other Rakshasas that try to avoid close combat at all costs, these guys thrive in close quarters and hand-to-hand combat. Nas'the-runes feel less of a need to be the boss in every operation. They are much more like mercenaries in their desires and needs. These creatures have made their mark in every D&D edition since the beginning, all the way up to the current 5th edition. If it wasn't enough for their backwards hands to cause people to fear them, these guys pride themselves on their mastery of illusions and the ability to manipulate and unsettle every single humanoid they come across. Even though their looks would make some people believe that they are very animalistic in nature, they are in fact extremely intelligent and have the ability to plot and scheme to make their way through the material plane. If you're unlucky enough to be on the hunt for a Rakshasa, or you just somehow run into one accidentally, you will more than likely not even realize that they are a Rakshasa because they spend most of their time in a disguise. Rakshasas love power and have a keen eye for the finer things in life like fine art, music and literature, and clothing, and love to gain high positions in different businesses or maybe even governments. They love to live a comfortable life and lazily lounge around in comfort and pull the strings on any destructive plots or plans that their backward claws are in. They have a particular eye for lost magic, scrolls and tomes, or any secret information of the evil variety to add to their collection of many things. Slaves are also in their eyes another form of item to collect, and expect them to pour every last inch of themselves into serving their new master and bolster their already enormous ego. When they eventually find a place to settle down and set in their territories, they find a home that is as far away from other Rakshasas as possible, because these are very solitary creatures. They like to have a lot of minions around, but not a lot of other Rakshasas. But then being a master of illusion and disguise, they will often appear as well-known nobles or maybe even princes or crime lords that control the underground crime ring of the city. They are extremely charismatic creatures, so much so that they will almost always have a vast range of minions, servants and henchmen to do all their bidding. Rakshasas take good joy and pride in stealing from people that are poor and needy, and they tend to use their high up positions of power to have wormed their way into taking anything of value that the target has in their possession. As well as just stealing, Rakshasas thrive on bringing down someone seen as a model citizen to the community and turning the community against them and revealing any and all hidden secrets that they have. Now, looking at the Rakshasa in the 5e monster manual, there is only one variant, unlike in the 4e monster manual. Compared to other editions, the Rakshasa's origin is a little hazy, but in 5e, they later confirm that there are in fact devils from the 9 hells, like we said earlier in the video. Even if you manage to defeat a Rakshasa, don't get too comfortable thinking you won't be seeing it again, because even death on the material plane is more of an annoyance than a true end. When a Rakshasa is slain on the material plane, their spirit is returned back to the 9 hells, where it will writhe and gestate in agonizing pain for months on end, regaining its physical form. Once the regeneration is complete, the Rakshasa will do whatever it takes to take revenge on the person who slayed them on the material plane.
I'm back, baby.
Unless they are killed on their home plane, that being the 9 hells, the Rakshasa will keep returning again and again and again, learning from each time it is killed until it has taken its revenge on their new sworn enemy and slain them dead. If the unfortunate circumstance happens where the mortal who wronged them dies before it can act out on its revenge, it doesn't just go away. The Rakshasa will instead enact its revenge on your allies or family members, so don't think death is a way out. They will find a way to hurt you. Now that we've gone over some of the info on the background and the origins of the Rakshasa, let's go over some of the stats that they have. Starting off with the base Rakshasa in the 5e monster manual, it has an AC of 16 and 110 hit points. They are pretty quick too, with a speed of 40, and they have a unique vulnerability where they are vulnerable to specifically piercing damage from someone with a good nature. They're immune to bludgeoning, piercing and slashing damage from non-magical attacks, and have 60 feet dark vision and a challenge rating of 13, which is on the level of a beholder or a brass dragon. They have an ability called Limited Magic Immunity, where the Rakshasa can't be affected or detected by spells of 6th level or lower unless it wishes to be. It has advantage on saving throws against all other spells and magical effects. Rakshasas being naturally attuned to the arcane, they have a variety of spells at their disposal. With a spell DC of 18 and a plus 10 to hit on their spell attacks, at will they can cast Detect Thoughts, Disguise Self, Mage Hand, and Minor Illusion. 3 times a day they can cast Charm Person, Detect Magic, Invisibility, Major Image, and Suggestion. And once a day they can cast Dominate Person, Fly, Plane Shift, and True Seeing. If an adversary does manage to get face to face with a Rakshasa, they are not completely helpless. They do have some melee capabilities. They have a multi-attack where they can make 2 attacks with their claws, and their claws deal a plus 7 to hit and deal 2d6 plus 2 slashing damage. And if the target is a creature, then the creature becomes cursed. Whenever the individual who became cursed takes a short or long rest, they are filled with horrible images and dreams and gain no benefits from a short or long rest. So essentially, if you're taking a long rest and you're cursed by a Rakshasa, you will not gain any of the benefits, and you will gain a point of exhaustion. The curse persists until it is lifted by a remove curse spell or a spell along the same vein. Now for these 2 variants of a Rakshasa, I've tweaked some 5e stat blocks of the Nas'the-rune and the Ak'chazar that I found online. Starting with the Nas'the-rune, it is more of a dexterous and rogue-like of the variants. With an AC of 17 and 93 hit points, it has a speed of 35, which I would argue that it should have 40, with it being a dexterous kind, but hey, that's me. These variants don't have any vulnerability to piercing damage from a good-natured creature, but they do have damage resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. They also have an immunity to being charmed, frightened, or even poisoned, and have a standard 60 feet of dark vision and a challenge rating of 8. Not being as attuned to magic as other Rakshasas, the Nas'the-rune can't be affected or detected by spells of only 3rd level or lower unless it wishes to, and it has advantage on saving throws against all other spells and magical effects. They have all the abilities that a player character rogue would have, like the cunning action ability, the uncanny dodge, evasion, and sneak attack. For the sneak attack action, the Nas'the-rune deals 7d6 piercing damage, and this is around level 13 for a rogue character for damage wise. It has the ability to detect thoughts as an action, where for 1 minute the creature can read the mind of a creature of its choice, and is able to read the surface thoughts of said creature. As an action, it can either shift the attention to another creature's thoughts or attempt to probe deeper into the same creature's mind. If you probe deeper, the target must make a wisdom saving throw, and if it fails, you gain insight into its reasoning, its emotional state, and something that looms large in its mind, such as something it worries about loved ones, or something it hates. And if they succeed the save, the spell ends. It has an interesting ability called One with the Dark, where even if the Nas'the-rune isn't behind cover, it can use its bonus action to hide if it is in dim light or darkness. Its final ability is called Shadow Jump, where the Nas'the-rune can teleport up to 20 feet into any unoccupied space as a bonus action, as long as it is in dim light or darkness at the start of the bonus action. It does have a multi-attack where it can make up to 3 melee attacks or 2 attacks with its short bow. The short sword that it wields has a +9 to hit and deals 1d6 +5 piercing damage, and it also has an attack with its claws when it is in its true form, and they deal 1d6 +5 slashing damage as well. The short bow has a little bit more punch than its melee attacks. It has a range starting at 80 feet and deals 1d6 +5 piercing and 2d8 poison damage on top of that, and the target must succeed on a DC 15 con save or be poisoned for 10 minutes. Finally, we have the Ak'chazar, which I think is the most deadly of the Rakshasa, starting with an AC of 15 or 18 with mage armor. It has 128 hit points and a speed of 40, both on the ground and flying. It is proficient in a lot of skills, including arcane, deception, insight, persuasion, and apparently they are immune to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. So not resistant, immune. They have 60 feet worth of dark vision and a challenge rating of 15, and this is on the same level as a horrible purple worm. They have an ability called Combat Caster, where it gains advantage on constitution saving throws to maintain concentration on spells. It also cannot be affected or detected by spells of 6th level or lower, and has advantage on saving throws against any other spells or magical effects. Being a necromancer, it gains a hefty amount of magic to use. Its spellcasting ability is charisma, and the save DC is 19, and it has a +11 to hit on its spell attacks. At will, the Ak'chazar can cast detect magic, mage armor, mage hand, non-detection, and ray of frost. 3 times a day it can cast charm person at 3rd level, feeble mind, hold person, ray of enfeeblement, summon undead at 6th level, and vampiric touch. And once a day it can cast blindness and deafness, disintegrate, dominate monster, mass suggestion, mirror image, and teleport. That is a wide range of spells. They've also given it the meta magic feature, where it has 16 sorcery points and can spend them to enhance the distance of a spell, empower the spell, heighten it, and make the spell more subtle. Now for its actions, it has a multi-attack where it makes 2 attacks with its claws and 1 with its bite. The claws deal 2d4 +1 slashing damage, and the target is affected with the same curse that the original Rakshasa has, and the bite deals 2d6 +1 piercing damage. It gains an action called Command Undead that it can use 3 times a day, where it can target one undead creature within 30 feet, and it must make a wisdom saving throw against the Ak'chazar's spell save DC. If it has a wisdom score of 10 or lower, it automatically fails, and the undead must obey the Rakshasa for 24 hours, or unless it casts Command Undead again. If the undead has a challenge rating of 15 or higher, the spell has no effect. 3 times a day, the Rakshasa can emit a pain wave of negative energy, where every creature within 20 feet is hit with a 3rd level inflict wounds spell. That is 5d10 necrotic damage. And it also has a reaction where it can cast counterspell at 7th level, and it recharges on a d6 roll of a 5 or a 6. When I first started looking into Rakshasas, I had no idea of these other variants that you can have in your world. If you want to add these devils into your game, you could go for the classic trope where a Rakshasa is the head of some big organization or underground smuggling ring or something, and you're tasked with clearing them out. Or you could have a Ak'chazar that took the place of a high, well-known wizard, and began twisting everything the wizard was known for, and it's for its own necrotic evil gains. See, I kind of like that idea personally. But that is all I have for you guys in today's video on Rakshasas. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you all found this video helpful. And if there's anything else I've missed, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. I will also leave links to all the websites I've used for my research on this topic so you guys can read through them yourselves. What monster should I cover next? Let me know in the comments below, and if I choose that one, I will add your comment at the end of the video. You can find links to all my socials down below to keep up to date with said videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.